Bangs out in an empty room, don't it? Okay. We'll get right into it. 9 o'clock, budget review.
Good morning, Susie Moon, Finance Manager. I believe Travis is going to be online to talk about the operations. So we're going to go over their IT's two funds. So the first fund is their operating fund, Fund 50201. So overall, they have about 5.2 million budgeted in revenues. Their largest source of revenue is going to be goods and services, and that's what they bill out to the county's other departments for IT services. So those billings, so those billings go out to the departments in January, and it's just done once a year. So they've received all that money back so far. Miscellaneous revenue, they've budgeted about 80,000. Oh, hi. That's going to mainly be investment earnings. Other financing sources, so that's going to be a transfer in from the general fund. So that comes from the auditor's office. It's part of document recording fees, and it helps pay for uh, the laserfish costs. So moving on to expenses, personnel, we're currently below target. The department does have 3 vacancies, which is likely why we're below target. And how we come up with those targeted figures is just taking the budgeted amount and dividing it by 12. In theory, if costs are equal across the year, then you would be on target. But since we do have vacancies, it meets our expectation that we would be slightly below. Supplies, this includes annual license renewals. Those are usually paid in either the third or fourth quarter, depending on when those come in. So we would expect to be under target for that one as well. Debt service, so financial reporting requires that the county book amounts related to SPIDAs or subscription information technology arrangements. So there's an amount there that's not budgeted for debt service. It's 176,000. That's just the recording of a piece of that required transaction. It also affects the transfers amount. So that's why it looks like it's currently negative. For transfers, we had budgeted 402,000. That's moving money from IT's operating account into the reserve account to help pay for future replacements. But that 402,000 is offset currently by 521,000, and that's booking the other side of that financial transaction that the county is required to book as part of the annual financial report. Oh,
How, how do we come up with the 402? Is there a formula to that, or is it just a percentage, or?
I'm not 100% sure on how Kathy determines that amount. I can look into it and get back to you with it. I think there is some sort of calculation that she does during the budget for the next year.
So that figure comes from her, it doesn't come from Travis and the team?
No, I don't believe so. I think it's the amount in the budget that is sent to the reserve does on an annual basis, but when she makes transfers throughout the year and that amount, I don't get involved with.
But
To
you're
answer your
involved
question.
in the dollar amount that you want to set into reserve.
Yeah, we basically help come up with the total value of assets that would need to be replaced, their life cycle, et cetera. And that's done at the budget cycle. So that we do, like we're in the process of doing that now for next year and the following year. And so that amount we establish and I help her with. And then she makes transfers at different times throughout the year when the funds are in the account to move it into the reserve account.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, is trying to figure out who was making the determination of what needed to be replaced and when.
Yeah, and last year that was rough. We certainly made some improvements to that. And this year we're refining a little bit, so we continue to get better year by year as we do that.
Okay.
So the department did add 2 new positions near the end of last year. So we still have 3 vacancies in the department as a whole.
We, and maybe it'd be hard to speak to this at this point in time, but what's the opportunity for, or is there opportunity for outsourcing? We didn't do everything. I know in my previous life, we had third parties that would help us with some of that. Do we have that ability here, or what's the opportunity for that?
We do,
Or
we
is,
have.
or is that a deeper question?
No, I mean, I'll speak to it generally, and you'll probably want to go into detail later. But yeah, I mean, in general, we have that opportunity. And so one of those positions has been vacant because the intent is not to replace that position with a FTE, right, a regular employee, but to use a third-party service as for that specialty service. So we haven't contracted for that service yet, but we do intend to. And there are cases where we've done that with other services also. We had a vendor, CHR, until last month or so, who we were assigning some services, and they were assisting with increased service in the past 6 months or so, helping to fill in the absence of Aaron, who was one of the other vacancies. That was a difficult stretch for them. It wasn't really their primary target of service. So we're now starting to use 2 other organizations and just starting to spin up or get organized and work with 2 other organizations to do some of those similar services that CHR was fulfilling in the past. And there are other services and other ways that we could leverage too.
When you use some of the outside, and I'm not, you can speak, it doesn't have to be speaking about here. I know you have experiences other places. When you use outside, does can it effectively expand your hours of service? How to put that? If somebody has problems at an odd hour, does it expand the hours you're available to help solve things?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly varies by the service that you contract with or you engage. And, the services have different benefits. So sometimes you do it because you're trying to get a wider breadth of hours and coverage in the schedule. Sometimes it's just you're looking for specific expertise, right? And so, yeah, there's multiple ways to spin that, but coverage is one of them. Right now, it hasn't been so much for hours of coverage. It's been more so for expertise. And for cyclical periods where we just need additional work done for different reasons.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Next slide. So IT's reserve account, we currently budgeted about 5.1 million in revenue, or 5.1 million in revenues. That factors in their beginning fund balance. Miscellaneous revenue is about 200,000. Currently, we are on target for that at 65,000. You can see the other financing sources, the 402,000. That's revenue coming over from the operating account into the reserve account. We are anticipating a budget amendment that will affect both revenues and expenses related to insurance recoveries. We're not sure what that dollar amount will be at this time. We are planning on our next budget amendment being sometime in August. Supplies has a current budget of 516,000. 491,000 of that is to replace rugged laptops at the sheriff's department. We're anticipating that purchase being made later in the year. Services, 300,000 of the budgeted 424,000 is for professional services to assist in implementing tools that were previously purchased, such as disaster recovery, backups, and that type of activity. So we anticipate that taking place later this year. And the department doesn't have any FTE associated with this fund, since this is more of, you can think of it as like a savings account type of fund.
For equipment replacement.
Yeah,
I say equipment, but also licensing.
And that's all I have for you.
okay. Anything else? We all good? All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
I know, yeah. Since you're here, won't make you stay till 10. We'll get you in and out of here.
Good morning, Troy Brightfield, Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Office. Here to discuss a contract to extend our WatchGuard video system for an additional 3 years. So this is a program that we use for both our vehicle dash cameras and our body worn cameras. We started this contract, 5-year contract, back in August of 22. And what we're trying to do now is negotiate a contract going into the future to lock in a better price. This proposed contract would have a total cost of around $190,000 over 3 years, split with 3 payments in August of each year, starting in August of 27. So the annual cost would be about $63,483. What that would do is give us 1 refresh on our body worn cameras. They do take a beating. These are our second ones in our contract cycle. That was planned. And so we'll get 1 more refresh of the body worn cameras. We'll be keeping the current vehicle based cameras, as they don't get beat up quite as much. We should be able to extend those another 3 years to save some money. And just for comparison, there are other brands out there, but switching brands would be likely an expensive endeavor. In my work as a major crimes team commander, we've reviewed camera systems from other companies, and the video was comparable. For its goal, capturing evidence, these are more than sufficient. And as a comparison, a smaller agency in our county, a little less than a third our size, they went with a competitor brand. They're paying about $100,000 a year for less than a third of the equipment. So I think it's a good deal for us going forward, and it helps us kind of pre-plan for those budget issues in the future.
Did I understand that when you got the cameras in 22, that was on a 5-year contract? So is this a modification for the last 3 years of the contract?
No, this would just be an extension that would start in August of 27.
Would start in August of 27 and take you through August of 2030?
August of 2030.
Okay.
You're just looking to lock in the costs there.
We want to keep our costs down in the future. We want, so we use this for a lot of things. We use cloud storage. Deputies pull to the hall, transfers, goes to the cloud. But it also allows us to store digital evidence in the cloud. We have a great deal of that there. It's better than storing it on site and having it prone to failure. There's a lot of redundancies built into their system. So this is kind of us trying to keep things stable, predictable, and affordable.
When it's going to the cloud, is this run through IT here or is this a separate contract sheriffs have?
So that's part of this contract. That cost.
Oh, it's Motorola supplies this.
Yeah,
okay.
We have hardware, all upload server for vehicles, so we don't have to shuffle thumb drives or whatever. So that all is an automated process.
Okay.
So this extends the contract, but when is that first payment due? In 27?
August.
Okay,
This is a, we're able to get this offer by doing it now. I know that if we come back again in a couple of years, I expect a higher price.
I would say that's probably true.
yeah, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. Sounds good, Troy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. We don't have other people coming in till 10, so we'll just recess till 10. Okay, back from recess, we'll head into agenda items. We had the sheriff was here, so we took care of that. Looks like the rest of the agenda is all public works.
Good morning, Susan Eugenia is County Engineer. Let's see. Items we have on here. So item number 3 on the consent agenda is the bid award for to JL Stordahl for the purchase of road surfacing materials. That was us. We went back out to bid. We awarded to all bidders and Stordahl has submitted. So we're going to add them to our list.
Just the one, huh?
Just the one, but we have the 2 from before. So now we'll have a
Have 3.
3. So
Okay.
that'll make it better. Then we have contract execution for Lakeside Industries for the overlay project. So we awarded this on May 27th, and they got all their paperwork in, get this executed, and they can start overlaying probably in July would be when they'd get started. Let's see what else. We have the one motion item, which is the bid award to Dirt and Aggregate interchange for the 2025 guardrail, countywide guardrail project for $298,888. We had 5 bidders, which is surprising. We've had a lot of bidders this year. This is well below the engineer's estimate. I went through to see where we were under. We were under almost 30,000 for mobilization. The type 31 guardrail, both the regular and the long posts came in quite a bit better than the engineer's estimate. But all of the bidders were well below the engineer's estimate. We have worked with Dirt and Aggregate before, and we're happy with their work in the past. So we're recommending awarding this contract to them. This is a safety project, so 90% of the cost is covered by federal highways.
It's just, we've done replacement and repair. This is new.
This is
Additional.
new, yes. A good portion of this is down on Little Klamath River Road or on this particular project.
Five bidders and below estimate. I think people are really looking for work is what that's telling me.
Yes, and it has seemed to be that way this spring, and from talking to other public works departments, they all seem to be getting lots of bids and good bids. So I think people are gearing up, trying to.
Yeah. It's good for us. It paints a little different picture on economy as a whole, but it's good for us.
It's always bad in public works when the economy goes down, our prices get better. So we're kind of the reverse of most people. When the economy goes down, we're getting more done because we can get better bids in.
Yeah.
And it is also one of the areas that federal stimulus money is thrown because it gets people back working.
And 90% of this is coming from safety funds.
90% of safety,
Yeah.
yes.
The other thing I see is a call for bids, and this I know has been in the works for a few years. We're finally going to build that storage building for the sheriff's office. Is that Mike? Is that a Mike thing?
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Moss, Public Services Director. Yeah, the first item on there was from the Maintenance Department for call for bids for the Sheriff's Storage Building, looking at the corner of the fairgrounds for construction near the morgue.
Yeah.
The building's quite large. Going out, the project overview is 60 by 100 feet.
65 by 100.
Yeah. With 16-foot eaves, 8 steel overhead doors, 4 of them measuring 16 feet by 14. The others are 12 by 14. The bid package includes everything from site prep, groundwork, foundation installation, building erection, door installation, and also electrical install. So, yeah, we have some money set aside in our 5-year budget for this year for that project. We'll see what the bids come in at.
And what's the storage for?
Evidence storage or just vehicle storage for the sheriff's office. Right now, they have a lot of their vehicles stored at different places around the county, including Public Works. They have 2 boats at our facility, at our main building. Our ER&R central shop has, I believe, their SWAT rig and a couple other vehicles there. They also rent and lease out storage units around town that they have evidence and vehicles in. Our motor pool building has multiple items in there of theirs. So they're kind of spread out around the county, and we're looking to consolidate it to one location.
Is that an advantage? I mean, I understand the money savings to build our own storage, but is that an advantage for the actual use and availability of the vehicles?
I believe it is, especially on the boat side for the sheriff's office. They'd like to have a pull through. Right now, their boats are kind of backed into each other in our bays, and we also store other equipment there, including our vac truck. So sometimes things have to be moved out of the way before they get a boat on the river. So I believe Jordan Spencer is online also to probably give a little bit more details exactly what their wants and needs are for maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just to kind of recap what Mike was saying, we've got the 2 boats that sit on the trailers that we don't keep in the water, the kind of more of our quick response boats that we store over at Public Works. We've got our mobile command unit, which is also stored over the county shops that we utilize, and also our Bearcat, which is stored at the old motor pool in a bay that's just large enough to fit inside it. In fact, we have to pull the mirror in just to get it inside. So this would be keeping all of our emergency equipment located at one area, with the addition of having our some evidence storage to be able to store vehicles as well. We're hoping up to 4 to 5 vehicles that we can store for evidence for search warrants and things like that. We had that fire there at the motor pool a couple of years ago from an evidence vehicle. So trying to keep all the vehicles in one spot for search warrants and things like that as well. Plus the addition for the expo center to have their covered storage for their equipment and everything.
What's the location of this proposed location at?
It'd be the corner of the fairgrounds right across the street from the morgue.
Okay.
So,
Right along that little access road.
correct, yeah. Yep, yeah. And they worked with Kim, as Jordan mentioned, a couple of the overhangs on the outside that Kim's looking at possibly store her tractor and another, I believe her flatbed pickup under there for just get it out of the weather.
Without interfering with the doors?
Correct, yeah. Yeah, they worked out a plan that she's walked along with Jordan Spencer and their staff over there. So they've worked out a plan together.
Okay. Does that overhang go around the whole building?
I believe it's on just 2 sides. Is that correct, Jordan?
It's just going to be on the, I guess it would be the west end.
This is one side. Okay.
No doors on that side, so it would be the full length of the building, and I believe 16 feet wide.
Okay.
I know this has been on the books to do for a few years. You're probably hitting it based on what we're seeing for bids here lately, you're probably hitting it at a good time.
Correct, yeah. It was on there, I don't think 3 or 4 years ago, they're looking at building it in the south, actually our parking lot at Public Works on the back side there, but I believe cost and also some stormwater issues came to the head on that parking lot. So we switched locations, but also, it's also now a lot bigger building than initially we were looking at. So it made more sense to be on the fairground property rather than our back parking lot. So, and who knows, we'll see what the bids are. This is this call for bids. We'll still have to contract it, of course, through you guys, but
Yeah.
we'll see what the numbers come in at.
Yeah,
Just gonna have a metal roof on it.
It'll be a full metal building, correct?
Gonna put solar panels up there.
That has not been discussed.
that's an interesting thought because when we were out at the Sunrise Village, didn't they say those panels on there would cover all?
It's gonna power the whole facility, not
That-
gonna have any electric bill.
That's what
Or
they're
any
telling,
of
that's what they're
those-
saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
so we can cut our electric bill, just put those solar panels up.
yeah. All right. I don't see anything else I have questions on for tomorrow.
One of our.
You guys got some?
Yeah, we have HR item, but one of our HR items is a request to fill. But before we go there, I'm gonna give you a little background if that's all right. In the budget cycle, we had two items in there. One was a striping truck to stripe our own roads for the county, but
Right.
also kept money in there for the contract to bid that out, to actually have a third party stripe our roads. The price, as she mentioned, as Susan mentioned, we got the pricing of things have certainly came down. The striping contract this year came in at $538,000. Oh, sorry.
No.
The striping contract came in at 538. We did get pricing for the striping truck itself, and with tax and delivery, it was $830,000. So we looked to see what our annual cost would be to do the striping in-house, and it was around the same price as our current bid this year. So we were looking about or 550 to 560 to do it in-house, and all stripes came in at 538. So there was no really return on our investment to buy a $800,000 striping truck. So we decided at this time, put that to the side and just go ahead and contract it out. We'll revisit this the next couple of budget cycles if we start seeing a trend in the striping contracts, that they're trending back up. Again, we'll look at doing that in-house. But if there's really no cost savings, we might as well have a third party do it, just because we don't really need another $800,000 piece of equipment on our lot at this point.
Yeah,
And-
I agree with you, Mike, but I think the fact that you looked at it may have lowered the striping costs.
They have, for sure. So that leads to, if we're doing the striping in-house, we're actually looking at possibly of adding more team members to our fleet or our shops. But we did not, it's not going that direction. We kept one of our supervisor spots unfilled since last November. We've had one supervisor overseeing two shops, the Kelso shop and the Kalama shop. Now, since we know a direction we're going with a striping contract, one of our requests to fill today is to fill that vacant supervisor position. So that's what Jessica's in the room for us today. So I don't want to jump the gun, but maybe she officially has to ask, but we'd like to fill that spot, the supervisor spot in our road. We actually have 4 road supervisors and one's empty right now.
Is that what you had, Jessica?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to give you the background on the
Okay.
striping truck of how we got, why we didn't fill that spot since last December.
Hang on just a minute, Susan. I had, what she was asking me, somebody came in and raised a hand and put a question in here, and I don't even know if we have the answer for it. Susan, can you update the commissioners on the review of the proposed mitigation of Dyke Road submitted to the county by the Port of Woodland? Does that sound familiar to you?
It does, and I don't have that information with me, but I will bring it Wednesday,
Okay,
and we can discuss it Wednesday at
Okay.
1:30.
okay.
So,
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
So the reason we kept that spot vacant since December, we really want to see what we're doing with this striping contract or doing stuff in-house. So we've had one gentleman filling that spot from the Kelso shop. He's stepped up to help fill that supervisor role, but just short term. And then the main supervisor for the Kelso shop went to Kalama and has been overseeing both of those shops. So we appreciate both of those members' extra work the last, 7, 8 months, but it's probably time to fill that void.
So yeah, the request to fill for Public Works is the road crew supervisor. They currently have one vacancy.
This all works through your budget
Correct, yeah.
and stuff as
Yeah.
well.
Actually, be a nice cost saving since we've had it empty for half this year.
Yeah. I'm good with it, yeah.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next item is from the Health Department. They're requesting to fill a customer service specialist position. The current employee put in her two weeks notice. This is one of
Just
their
replacing-
counter positions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last request to fill I have is from IT. They're requesting to fill their IT specialist position up to a level 4. The employee put in his 2 weeks notice last week.
Okay.
Okay. And then I have 2 executive sessions, one for collective bargaining and one for qualifications of an applicant.
Okay, executive session, collective bargaining, one for qualifications and applicant, time
10 minutes.
for both of them, you
Yeah.
think? Okay. Okay, we will adjourn to executive session.
Thanks. Watch your step.
All right. You want to stick around, Tracy, in case when she does her HR.
Crunching numbers. Crunching numbers. These are better. These are much better. I don't know what we, came up with. Yeah, so. It's come up with any differences really, or why did you write them first? Because I do that when you can see it's 2 points, right? Or what are they going to do? Round your middle. Just to see what's cool. That's it. You're coming up with what you, so. Exact same number. So something's not right. Well, we'll look at the other ones and see. Because some of the other ones, I think, multiply by decimal place because you have everything. So the right one is literally just take off the number, the rest. So then they go to Google thing and try to figure out what units it fit, and that's what I. Yeah, I mean, I looked through it. That's why I didn't send out an email on Friday. I definitely looked through it closer. It's like there's no way that we can be telling. So I'm wondering if you didn't convert them because the column. Yeah, but if writer with writer was on, the writer was on different. You have to record it for the others. So I'm wondering if these didn't convert it from. Balance. That's what I'm trying to figure out because it has units at the top. It says circle, which is in here. It's not circled. So then you figure out what neither reads in it is balance. There is a given. Yeah, so that's what so I converted mine from I converted mine from with a cubic feet. Yeah, from cubic, yeah. I converted it from that to gallon. Which each unit has a constant. That's 700. So, all in safety, and I feel pretty confident that mine. His numbers. Addition. Yeah, and mine don't. Yeah, wondering if he used the spreadsheet somewhere. So I set up a spreadsheet. Some of those. Yeah. She would like just or she'd be putting in a company and it's a really trying to search it out. But, you know.
Hey, back from executive session, no decisions rendered. Jessica, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. I did want to make an additional request to fill a senior engineer position. We currently have a civil engineer position opening, but we'd like to fill a senior engineer position.
Okay,
Good to go.
And then I am also requesting a motion to authorize the chairman to sign a grievance response to an employee with content as substantially presented to the board.
Yeah.
you need a motion for that one?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize you to sign the response to the grievance that was before the board.
okay. We have a motion to approve that request for me to sign. We'll call for the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Look at
Thank
that. I
you,
could have got myself out of it that quick.
Thank you.
Takes care of everything? Okay. I don't see we have anything else. All right. We will adjourn. Thank you. Ironically, I had, Dennis used to sit in on these timber caucus meetings. And, I've picked them up and I sat on my second one. So I'm kind of understanding what they're about. Basically, the state has a forest review board that makes decisions